that channel, eh? Sorry? No, in the YouTube channel. It's Rooftop Private. Wait, let me see if I can send you a link. Is it live? Okay, cool. Thanks. Sorry? Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's fine. As long as it's live. I'm sharing my screen. Thanks.
In crisis settings around the world, cash and voucher assistance
I'm sorry, I've taken over your PC. I signed out of your team so I could use mine just for the meeting. I'll sign out as soon as the meeting is done.
हमर नाम छै अमर कुमार पासवान। हमर साल भए गेल छै 9 साल और हमर नल घूम हमर नाम छै अमर कुमार पासवान। हमर साल भए गेल छै 9 साल और हमर नल घूम हमर नाम छै अमर कुमार पासवान। हमर साल भए गेल छै 9 साल और हमर नल घूम हमर नाम छै अमर कुमार पासवान। हमर साल भए गेल छै 9 साल और हमर नल घूम हमर नाम छै अमर कुमार पासवान। हमर साल भए गेल छै 9 साल और हमर नल घूम हमर नाम छै अमर कुमार पासवान। हमर साल भए गेल छै 9 साल और हमर नल घूम हमर नाम छै अमर कुमार पासवान।
The sound works, don't. Hey, thanks for the heads up.
Yo, my brother from another mother. Yo. We managed to get I can plan you. Okay, bro. Yeah. You know, an interview is supposed to be speaking.
Okay, I'll ask, do you want to run through the...
Is it me?
Sir.
Morning, Stephen, Geoff, Carter, and Kathy.
Goedemorgen.
Good morning.
What I said in the message.
Hey.
He was here early. Morning, everyone. Morning. Morning, noisy people at the... Morning, everyone. First work sharing session of the year. Can you believe it? February already. It's absolutely crazy. Cool, guys. Yeah, so first Monday is always a work sharing session, as per usual. So let's get inspired by some work. So I've got a bit of a hit list of a sequence here. First up is Blue Pod.
Morning, everybody. I'm glad I get to go first.
anyway, we wanted to show the Nepal edit that Carl and the team worked so hard to capture footage for. And basically, a short rundown is that we've got 2 edits going for the 2 different districts that they filmed in. One is a VR edit, and the one is a 2D edit, so your standard kind of edit. And yeah, just shout out to the guys who filmed. They did an amazing job capturing some beautiful scenes, and to Rian, who managed to capture the 2D stuff amongst all the VR chaos. He did a great job. And so yeah, myself and Carl were working on these edits. Carl did the 2D edit. I did the VR edit. And we try to keep the storylines as close as possible to each other, but there are differences because of the platform is different. So yeah, anyway, I want to just play the video and actually just say it was a fun video to work on because it was Nepalese culture and we could play with music and we could play with graphics and that kind of thing. So it was a really fun project. And if you want to see the VR stuff, feel free to come check out the headset. Yeah.
Thanks, Brett.
हमर नाम छै अमर कुमार पासवान। हमर साल भए गेल छै 9 साल और हमर नर घूम रहे छै। हमर गांव के नाम छै पुआतोल। हमर साल भए गेल छै 9 साल और हमर नर घूम रहे छै। हमर गांव के नाम छै पुआतोल। हमर साल भए गेल छै 9 साल और हमर नर घूम रहे छै। हमर गांव के नाम छै पुआतोल। हमर साल भए गेल छै 9 साल और हमर नर घूम रहे छै। हमर गांव के नाम हमर नाम छै अमर कुमार पासवान। हमर साल भए गेल छै 9 साल और हमर नर घूम रहे छै। हमर गांव के नाम छै पुआतोल। हमर पसंदीदा बात छै हमर यहाँ बहुते साथी और छै ने पोखरि रहै छै, घूमै छै, नहाय छै, माछ मारै छै तै खातिर। कुपोषण जे बच्चा के ई गहबर आयल छलै ने तऽ हमर सोनी बहुते छोट छलै 1-2 साल के बाद तब एलै तऽ सोनिया को कुपोषण भेलै ने तब हमर सोनी कुपोषण में गेलै। आब एबे ने कहै छै आबे छै तऽ हमर सोनी के नहि लै छै कियाकि आब कुपोषण में हमर सोनी हेबे ने करै छै। हमर गाँव में तो हम दिन के देखै छियै कोई ने भूखा लै छै और रात के तऽ क्या ने गेलै कोई दिन।
This province is malnourished in comparison to other provinces. They are surviving on the very basic needs of their family. In their plate, it's not a very nutritious food. They generally depend on the carbohydrate, that is staple food is rice over here.
एठमा खेती में कहिके जे छै क्या कहिके जे अखाड़ जेठ महीना कहिके जे डुमान में जाइ छै कार्तिक में कहिके जे छै मौसरी आलू खेती मोटर खेसारी अखन हैया गहूम ई 4टा बाली कहिके जे छै अखन लागै छै खाने के लागी में कमा के लाबै छै तऽ कहिके जे छै धिया पुता के खाइ छै नहीं लाबै छै तऽ भूखल रहै छै चाहे सब परेशान होइ छै लत्ता कपड़ा के दिक होइ छै।
When we look at the generational cycle, if the girl child is undernourished, she will turn into undernourished adolescent, and the same will be in reproductive age also. So the cycle goes on of undernourishment in that family. In this region, we are working in multi-sectoral, which covers agriculture, health, nutrition, education, wash, and also good governance. There are female healthcare volunteers in this area. If they are malnourished, then they are referred to health post, which has service of treatment of malnutrition.
हम जब पढ़ लिख के कुछ बनेंगे तो एक गांव को हम नीक सुविधा देंगे, मतलब नीक से अथी करबे, मतलब खाए पिए का अथी करबे। हम जी बड़ा हेबे तो नीक से अथी करबे, मतलब एक गांव का ककरो भूखा नहीं रखबे, चाउर दूध देबे, खाए पिए का अथी करबे, ते खातिर गांव का हम बड़ा हेबे तो अथी।
Amar and his friends are bursting with life and potential. Empowered by a nutrition program, this community will be given the opportunity to break the cycle of malnutrition and poverty.
Good morning, everyone. So as the Green Pod, we've been working on a project for UNICEF over the past year. So yeah, this is a project that's been quite long term, and it's still continuing. And what we're going to show you today is our signature video. So the campaign that we created for them is an internal campaign for their staff. They wanted to create awareness about their 6 core values, which you'll find out about soon. And so we got to interview a ton of the UNICEF staff over Riverside, an online platform where we sit on this side and they log in from a phone or a laptop, and then we get to interview them. We asked them about the 6 values, and there was a script which this video is well used. And then yeah, we really discovered that UNICEF staff love what they do, most of them. They were so passionate. It was very rare that we got people that didn't, really speak with passion. I was really touched by that. I think every time after one of the interviews, I just left so inspired, and I was like, I really support what they do, because I see that their staff really care about what they do. They really know what they're doing, and they really also care about their values. So yeah, I really hope this campaign does activate those values with the rest of the staff and new staff that come on board. So this is the signature video. Really big thanks to the whole Green Pod, and to Scott and Anita for animation, to Rob Barron for sound. I don't know if this one is the final sound mix. And Rian and I worked on like the visual style and stuff. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. Enjoy.
UNICEF. We're more than 20,000 people.
Working in over 190 countries and territories.
In some of the world's toughest places.
To reach every child.
When we stand up,
join up, team up,
to bring care, respect,
integrity,
trust,
accountability,
and sustainability
to those we serve,
and those we serve with,
children are healthier,
better nurtured and protected,
better educated
and empowered.
We're the world's leading organization for children.
We come from every region of the world.
from Asia
To the Americas.
From Africa
to Europe and Oceania.
We are experts in our fields.
Specialized in health, immunization and nutrition.
Water, hygiene and sanitation.
Child protection
And social policy. Education and early childhood development. Social and behavior change. Emergency response.
Disability inclusion.
Planning, monitoring, and evaluation.
Communications and advocacy.
partnerships and resource mobilization.
Supply and logistics.
Finance and human resources. Staff well-being and counseling.
administration and technology.
We come from all walks of life.
Each with our own unique experiences.
We bring our skills,
Our passion
And our values.
To everything we do.
Our core values reflect who we are.
What we do.
How we do it.
And why we do it.
They strengthen us.
nurture our diversity and unite us as one UNICEF.
By putting our values into action,
We connect more deeply with each other.
We become even stronger as a team.
We can accelerate more progress
For children
Everywhere.
Help realize their rights.
And bring about lasting change in the world.
there is a blue thread that connects us.
we are one UNICEF.
And we are here for every child.
Very cool. How's that sound job? It sounds really cool through the speakers. That's great. Okay, Red Pod, you guys are up.
Seems to be a bit of a theme for this morning, but as I'm quite sure you guys know, we've also been working on what seems to be the longest job in branding history, and that's for UNESCO. Obviously, we've been helping out with the rebranding and repositioning of UNESCO, and it seems like finally we've made some proper headway, and we got to dig into the fun stuff, and that is obviously the visual application. Okay. So we looked at the messaging structure for them, and we obviously landed on this tenet or this notion of sharing humanity, and then how we activated is like demonstrating sharing humanity is, and then highlighting whatever the case may be for the sort of focus area that they want to chat about. So we had to go through quite a rigorous structure to sort of say, you know, like, okay, sharing humanity is, and then there needs to be a positive verb, and then this, and then that, to make sure that when we hand this over to sort of other agencies and other departments, they can just follow suit and make sure that the brand stays cohesive and tight when it's out of our hands. I think you can go on. Nog 'n bietjie. So there you can see just the examples. Sharing humanity is advancing mankind. Sharing humanity is spreading tolerance. And it's always like follows the structure of brand positioning, the auxiliary verb, and a verb plus the topic, that sort of thing. So it gets quite finicky and quite tight. But it obviously also makes sure that when it's out of our hands, it sort of stays in the brand space. Then also just keeping in mind that this was all about humanity. We needed to make sure that there is some sort of humanity angle tied to the look and feel. So we put some rules in place, and one of them, for instance, is that when we make use of photography, there always needs to be some sort of human element in it. Doesn't like have to be a portrait face or whatever the case may be. It can be like a koi sun painting of a hand on a wall in a cave and that sort of thing. But as long as there's some humanity in the image, then we're good to go. And I'm going to hand over to Julian.
Thanks, Wes. So obviously with messaging, like the words, comes the visuals, and the photography obviously played a big part in that. So we've given them some kind of guidelines to work with, moving this kind of identity out. And it's not really a rebrand, it's just an addition for UNESCO. So we couldn't go too far to change the actual UNESCO branding. We just had to augment it to a certain degree. So to bring it alive, we needed a graphic language, and we needed to pull from the UNESCO logo, but not the actual emblem itself. So we decided to keep it super simple and actually just use the bounding box as like a base graphic element, and then from that, like explode it into different iterations to give it like legs across the different applications that they're going to use it for. So here's just an example of how we can use just a simple bounding box and just change the graphic language, but still keeping it like original to the bounding box. They like that, but they asked us, can we make it more unique to UNESCO? And Matthew, the dude in charge, was like, why don't we just take spaces from the building and just use those? And our knee jerk was, well, it's going to get very messy because it's going to, like, the building and the internal structure of the building are so visually different. But he was quite insistent, and we did the exploration, and it actually does work. So we've created these out of, he was keen on those stairs. So we created like basic graphic elements around the stairs. That's the UNESCO building. He liked the windows, so we created these iterations of the windows, still using that bounding box. And then we just brought them all together using the existing UNESCO colors and sub-colors. And then someone had an idea, I think it was Steve, just why don't we create gradients? So from the original UNESCO blue into their sub-branding colors, which actually creates a very cool visual language. And then the combination of all these graphics, this doesn't have to be done, it could be done, it's just creating elements that they can pull from. And then we just wanted to show how these could roll out into just visual executions, just to see if it had legs. So we just mocked up some posts with the visual branding, with the gradients, with the different elements, and it came together quite nicely. Like it gives it a little bit more of a non-institutional feel. It's not just blue, and we can go quite bold with this. We explored video end frames, this was how it was, how the sharing humanity locks up with the logo, and then the different rollouts of the visual execution in that space, and how the elements can work in that space as well, and across their collateral, their stationery. And then even beyond that, he saw how successful, he enjoyed how we had brought parts of UNESCO into the actual language. So then he said, well, why don't we just use the building itself, the actual shape of the building? So we did like a top-down, it's a awkward shape. And again, we were like quite insistent that it's not going to work, but good old Steve got it to work as per usual. So we created some like more iterations of that UNESCO building shape, and created patterns, and then we applied those patterns into the visual collateral, and again, it does work if treated correctly. And then he was so happy about that he said, why don't we try some more? So they've got a whole lot of amazing artworks throughout the UNESCO building and its surrounding areas. And I don't know why he went for this one, but it's an old Calder. He does these like they're called mobiles, I think, like kinetic sculptures. And this is quite a famous one that they've got in the building. And he said he really liked this. Can we do something with that? Which was again going to be very difficult. But we just isolated the main shapes. We created some graphic representation of how they can be exploded out, and then just explored to see if it would work, which it does if it's done properly, I suppose. And that's where we got to, and they were quite happy with where we are. So now from here, we just creating a brand booklet on how to officially use it, give some do's and don'ts, and that's where we're at. So it's a very comprehensive visual look and feel, but it's going to look good when it starts to roll out. Thanks.
Thanks, Julian. What he doesn't tell you is this is a massive project with various pods working on it. So Tom and James have been working on some videos. I think we released Biodiversity last year, a really cool video take. I know that Carl and his team are now involved working on some of the additional videos. They're going to be 4 video layers focusing on priority areas. And as Julian mentioned, the brand toolkit is busy being finalized at the moment. We actually shared open files with Mila from UNESCO last week, so they're going to start rolling out some of the content layers. So keep an eye out on UNESCO's channels. You're going to start seeing this brand identity developed in Rooftop, rolled out to the world through UNESCO, which is going to be pretty cool. Orange Pod, you guys are up. Dylan doesn't want the mic.
Cool. Yeah, like Bess said, some of these projects have been taking a year. At the Orange Pod, we're so proactive. This project hasn't really started yet. But it is a really cool project, and will take us until, I think, until September. But we got off to a good start earlier this year. And it's for UNICEF. One of their Skills for Girls programs is to get more young ladies, young females into the gaming industry. And sort of like their reason behind it is half of gamers worldwide are girls, but when it comes to the studios and the agencies who make the games, a very small percentage of those people are females. Which means the stories they tell aren't as diverse and the characters in the games aren't as diverse. So that's what they want to try and do, and they want to do it through one of the Skills for Girls programs where they encourage girls to take more STEAM subjects. So, and also, this is also, I mean, me and Dylan are presenting, but there's quite a few people from other pods who's been helping so far. These are just a few pages from the proposal we shared originally. So this is something Samantha did, but I'll get to why we've got a little character jumping from platform to platform shortly. So for the visual approaches, what we're gonna follow 5 girls who's about to sort of be participants in this program. And apart from following these 5 girls, sort of like going on this journey with them, we'll also be checking in with females who are already sort of quite settled in the gaming industry and sort of can almost act as mentors for these girls, and then also getting some sound bites and voices from people involved in the Skills for Girls program. But we were keen to see how we can maybe push it just a little bit further. So what we pitched and what the client really liked was instead of just showing faces and just showing the girls and the females in the industry, we're gonna, from time to time, there's gonna be quite a few videos, but every now and again we'll break away from seeing these girls and actually have the girls we're following inside a game, and sort of like when they speak about their challenges, their character in the game will overcome some obstacles, or when they talk about some the progress they've made, we'll see the girls in the game getting getting more armor or getting rewards. So sort of just breaking away from actual footage to the girls in these games. And then we showed them quite a few different ways we could approach it, all of them set in the gaming world. And then when they came back to us and they said no, they really like the way we've gone about it, we asked them like which one do you like, and they said yes, all of them. So so this is sort of just a photo bash of what we tried to do, combining all of those styles, and sort of the games we're focusing, the game we're sort of trying to replicate is the type of game we feel like, after having done some research, we feel like these girls would be playing. And at the same time, because these girls are still sort of high school girls, maybe like 14, 15 years old, we also didn't want to sort of make the game in a style which seems super unachievable. So the game, Dylan will show you guys what we've got so far, but it's all made using free software. So the artwork we made was done in free software, where we're putting it all together, and the coding side of it, that's done in free software. And the Artlist song is also basically free. So Dylan will show you the game, and then just going back one slide, that's just sort of like an idea of how we'll be sort of showing lower thirds and title, like sort of all the title scenes, and any sort of on-screen text elements. And then Dylan, if you want to just chat through what we've got for the game.
Sure, thanks, Yaku. Yeah, so just to reiterate what Yaku was saying, we thought it would be quite an engaging thing for the girls themselves if they could see what would be capable to do just for them in a very simple sort of method in terms of putting a game together, developing that, and then packaging that for an audience. So, like Yaku was saying as well, we wanted to gamify their experience and their journey leading up to. There's this big hackathon that's happening in September where all 5 of these girls from all over the world are going to meet up, and we will then have recorded footage of them leading up to that meet. And along the way, we're going to be taking then those gamified sections and also kind of using them to hype up this meetup of the girls together, and hopefully also then motivate them and inspire them to show them, you know, this is your journey in game form, and it's not in a bad way, but just because we're 2 people. This is a very simple version of what you can achieve just through the skills that you'll be developing. That's the game. Jokes. Thank you, Tian. I mean, Rian. I always make that mistake. I'm sorry. Yeah, so what we did was we thought instead of filming and sequencing the whole thing, it might just be better to literally code and then animate a small character, build a level, have the character run through the level, and then also face different challenges as we play the game itself. So this is a very rough game. You can see little cat people running after our protagonist. And Claire also wrote us a script that spoke about coders, designers, and future leaders that we tried to incorporate into the game itself. So I recorded some of this footage just very roughly for Yaku to incorporate into the proposal we sent to the client. We had a meeting on Friday, and this is a quote from Mal, so I'm not like trying to... This aligns exactly with our vision. We love it. So we were... so that was quite great to hear. But yeah, just also a lot of different people have been helping out with this. Dion also designed some UI elements for us. Claire worked on a full script that we also drew from for this little demo. And putting the level together, fortunately, this is also very, very rough. So what we did was we got a little girl off of Artlist, and then she's wearing her denim jacket and her earphones, and then Yaku actually designed that little voxel character of her in the free software he mentioned. And so what we're going to do is personally tailor each individual 3D model to each real girl that is going to be going to this hackathon, and then document their kind of game journey up until that point. But yeah, thanks very much, guys.
That's a very cool project. Yeah, very nice, guys. Love that one. Cool. Last up, but certainly not least, I think maybe sounds included in this or script. I'm not quite sure, Nikki, who you were working with. With Joff, eh? You're going to speak. Okay, I'm going to let Nikki go next. Okay.
Thanks. It was a project with the Yellow Pod, but I'm just going to talk about the script side of it, and the Yellow Pod's doing a different presentation. Okay, it's a bit awkward. I do prefer presenting with the pod like we've done work with, but it's not always possible. Okay, so this is a project we did for UNFPA. It's the UN Population Fund, and they're doing a lot to end gender-based violence. And some of their work is sort of more obvious, like preventing female genital mutilation or reducing like intimate partner violence. And then there's some that's less obvious. And this one was about preventing gender-based violence in cash and voucher assistance. And just some background, like 10 years ago, humanitarian organizations used to give out bags of food or food parcels. And there's been a real shift where the beneficiaries themselves prefer cash. Then gives them dignity. They can choose what they want to buy. They can support local markets. But this also brings risks for women recipients who are often the recipients. They're the most vulnerable in some communities. But you get situations where in male-dominated societies, it causes tensions in the household, or if there's male agents distributing the cash, they ask for sexual favors before handing it over, or women get robbed. So there's a chance of making vulnerable people more vulnerable. So the cash actors themselves actually approached UNFPA to do something to help them. And then in response, they worked with cash actors, protection actors, GBV actors, and at-risk communities to develop a toolkit that provides guidance to cash actors about how to ensure they're doing no harm. Okay, and yeah, you can see those ways in the video. But I'll just add, training toolkit on its own is quite dry. So, and the client didn't want a storytelling approach, which would have been quite nice. They just wanted something quite straightforward. So I tried to make the script simple but conversational and just bring across why this matters. And the Yellow Pod illustration and animation team brought it to life. I'm not going to mention names because I'm probably going to leave someone out, but yeah, thought they did a great job. Okay, Foxy.
In crisis settings around the world, cash and voucher assistance plays a critical role in helping affected communities get back on their feet. But like any form of assistance, and despite efforts from cash actors, there are risks, especially for women. If cash schemes are not well designed, some women might be excluded from participating, facing stigma because they are divorced, from an ethnic minority, or simply lack identification to register for the scheme. In other places, women struggle to safely access cash assistance. Private agents distributing cash sometimes request favors in exchange for it. Elsewhere, the poor management of confidential data is a risk. For instance, recipients who are survivors of violence or have diverse gender identities and sexual orientations may face harm if this information reaches communities or the government. And where there are unequal gender dynamics and social norms, cash assistance may fuel tension in households or communities. What can we do to reduce risks of gender-based violence in cash and voucher assistance? UNFPA, working with cash and GBV actors, has developed and piloted field-oriented and easy-to-use tools and recommendations to ensure cash does not cause further harm to vulnerable women and girls. What's critical is to start the design of any cash intervention by identifying potential risks for women and measures to reduce these risks. To do this, cash actors should work with protection and GBV actors and engage with at-risk groups. For example, during discussions with women, they can identify the best form of cash assistance and which person in the household should be the main recipient to avoid creating family tensions. Private agents and others distributing cash should be trained and made to sign a code of conduct, making them accountable to the community. To make distribution points safer, they should include a protection desk and female staff in distribution teams. It's also important to set up a complaint and feedback mechanism to enable women to report misconduct or abuse. Adding a few specific questions in post-distribution monitoring assessments relating to measures taken by cash actors to reduce the risk of gender-based violence is an easy way to gather information on how women felt when accessing cash assistance or making a complaint. UNFPA's tools and recommendations have been piloted and are already making a difference in Iraq, Moldova, Afghanistan, Somalia, and many other countries around the world. They also help to ensure cash actors are following the protection requirements of donors. Using these tools and recommendations can enhance cash and voucher assistance programs, making them safer for women, building their resilience, and safeguarding their future.
Oh, nice one. And last but not least, Yellow Pod. Jeff, I think you sharing online.
Yeah, good morning. Oh, wait, hold on. Just going to mute my stream quickly. Hold on, this is very weird. Sorry, there's a slight delay, so I'm keeping hearing an echo. Cool. So I think guys have seen glimpses of this project as we've been working through it. So this is the Reset Earth Apollo edition. Basically the second phase to Reset Earth 1. And it was really nice, just to give a quick background again, a really nice project to work on in terms of the client giving us really an open field to kind of play on. We took the original concept that was originally 3 characters traveling in the future, and with budget kind of in mind and timeframes in mind, we took the approach of actually just creating one individual character, like basically a current vlogger, and a few reasons for that. But the one was to kind of break the fourth wall and someone that can engage face to face with the audience and have her based in current times, so she can kind of talk about current situations and educate kids through that. And then the biggest kind of, I think, thing I'm proud of is just the technical advancement we made as the pod in this project. We had James on the writing, and this was kind of to mimic the first kind of tone. So we kept a similar tone to Reset Earth 1. Ed was our technical director on this, and it was a huge step up. We had to learn pretty much new programs from scratch, new hardware, to kind of introduce into our pipeline to help animation. Animation is obviously a very tedious process, to kind of help speed up certain elements to reach kind of higher quality in work in shorter timeframes. We had Jeff and Kitty on supporting Ed in animation and tech. And then we had Kaylee on sound, who did an amazing job recreating kind of environmental sounds and soundscapes for us. So yeah, so this is Reset Earth Apollo edition. Doing well so far.
Makes you think, doesn't it? That small blue dot is our home. Every human who's ever lived has shared that little stage. It's all we have. Nowhere else to go. You'd think we'd take better care of it.
That was beautiful.
Hey, Remy, are you filming? Oh, come on. Why didn't you tell me?
It's the only thing I get to do. Let's go.
You ready?
You?
I can power you down, you know.
And action.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to Apollo's Edition. My name is Apollo. Before we get into the really exciting stuff, let me catch you up on a few things. Number 1, this is Remy, my glorified tripod.
Hey, wait a minute.
It's his first day.
No, they don't need to know that.
Number 2, my arm. It's robotic.
Whoa.
Ooh, yeah.
There you go.
And number 3, I have built my very own metaverse. And it is absolutely awesome. I'll tell you a bit more about that later. Okay, let's get into it. So, a few months ago, I came across these guys, and well, I am such a fan.
Shameless plug.
Yes, Remy, I know, but seriously, you guys have to check them out if you haven't yet. Basically, they're on a mission to save the ozone layer. And, spoiler alert, they do it.
Well, that wasn't real, right?
Well, yeah, scientists actually did it.
I think you'll find it wasn't just scientists. World leaders came together to protect the ozone layer.
Yes, Remy, I haven't gotten there yet. And Thanks to their work and their warning to the world, the Montreal Protocol was put in place in 1987, and since then, the dreaded CFCs have been phased out.
Oh, don't forget to talk about the assessment panel.
Yes, Remy. As I was saying, what's really cool to see is that ordinary humans like you and me, the real me, came together to save the world from destruction and to make sure that it doesn't happen again. The assessment panels were formed.
Oh, yeah. That's my cue. Hold this up. And ladies and humans, let's talk about assessment panels. Assessment panel number 1, it's scientific and constantly monitors our atmosphere. Assessment panel number 2, it's environmental and looks at, well, you guessed it, the impacts of ozone loss on our health and environment. Assessment panel number 3, it's full of technology and updates us on new ozone and climate-friendly, technologies. And all together, my dear listeners, make the 3 assessment panels. Let's make some noise! Yeah! Come on!
Remy, where did that come from?
Let's go!
That was
Come on.
amazing!
I know.
Okay, and back to Apollo's edition. So, these 3 defensive pillars are made up of people from around the world that are constantly assessing what's happening to make sure that we are safe. Talk about unsung heroes.
Basically exactly what I said.
Kinda, but this is where it gets interesting.
Oh. Is this me? I like it, but what?
Remy!
Over
here.
Yeah, but I'm coming. What is this?
Just a little something I've been working on for you guys, but I was saving it for later.
Okay.
Come on, Remy, try to keep
Okay, but we're running out of time on the stream.
Well, whose fault is that?
Mine.
Okay, so CFCs were stopped, the ozone layer saved, and the assessment panel started. Great. But now something has been flagged and it could be really bad. Basically, to replace CFCs, we now have HFCs. HF, what's, you ask? Good question. Here is the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good, they have 0 impact on the ozone layer. The bad, they are incredibly harmful greenhouse gases. And the ugly, the world is warming, and as it heats up, our chances of getting through this man-made mess gets lower. So, if you remember any of my ramblings from the start of this video, this one planet we have, this one place we get to call home, well, it's in trouble. So, why build a metaverse? Because in here, I've been able to create everything you need to know about the ozone layer, HFCs, and their effects in the environment. And just to be a little extra, I've thrown in a game too.
Oh, that's what that was.
You are welcome.
Okay.
So, my work here is done. But my research is for you. I'll drop a link so you can have a look through my stuff, because the best thing that you can do for your planet is to understand what's going on. Do some research, get involved, and let's save the world.
Yeah.
It's been done before.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Peace out.
Goodbye.
Been working on for this with the team. Rolled out World Education Day 2 weeks ago, started rolling out. It's already had more down or hits on the website than last year's campaign. So in 10 days. So well done. That video hasn't gone live yet. It'll go live in a few weeks' time as part of some paid support. So Max online has been helping with the paid. It's been doing really well. So thanks, Max, for supporting all the content. And I think there's about 8 social media posts, all with Apollo and Remy. And nice one, James, on your cameo. Yeah, really added some value to the production. Thanks, everyone. Cool. That's it for today. I just wanted to wish Maurice happy birthday. And hand over to James. Cool. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, just a quick one. We can't see her online, but it's Kathy's first Monday meeting with us. So welcome, Kathy, to Rooftop. Yeah, we can see Kathy. There she is there.
Hi, guys.
Cool. Yeah, great to have you part of